Any man could be a father, but it takes someone special to be the daddy. The Daddy Diaper Pack is available at daddingcompany.com.
Welcome to My Life as a Dad. Today's guest is Doug Gertner, a book author. Your dad recently passed away?
Yeah, I lost my dad just about a year ago.
A year ago?
Yeah.
How did you deal with that with your children? I haven't had to go there. My dad's 83, and I'm hoping we got another 10 or 15 years because he has good longevity. But
it sounds.
How do you deal with that?
Well, I would back up and even say, I had a really good relationship with my grandfather growing up, and that included spending time with just him. He lived in Cleveland, Ohio, so we would go to the Indians games, we would go to the Browns games. He fed my interest in coin collecting by always giving me coins. We had a bond, and I wanted my son to have that with my father. And in some respect, all grandsons, grandchildren, and their grandparents have a special bond. Mm-hmm. My dad, gave us a particular opportunity to get closer because toward the end of his life, he needed my help. We were living separately. He lived in Florida for many, many years. And when I realized that he couldn't live on his own anymore, he agreed to move to Colorado, where I live. And to me, that's what I've been blogging about for years, even through losing him, because there's so much rich to really mine there in the story that comes when essentially I say fatherhood came full circle for me, where after he needing to care for me after my mother died, I came full circle and was caring for him and caring for my son. And a member of the sandwich generation is not the easiest place to be, but my son made it as easy as it could be. It's like somewhere it didn't even take that much work. He just opened his heart and knew this can't be easy for me or my dad. And he just became a good sport about visiting my dad. And then as his health declined, there was a fall, a stint in rehab, and he ended up for a while in assisted living. And then as his health declined again, there was the sort of skilled nursing toward the end of his life. And Jordy would come along and visit and try to chat and be, my dad also had cognitive decline and Alzheimer's, and so for my son to be willing to answer the same question over and over again, to be patient, to engage him, he would use school assignments to come and ask my dad questions. Papa Mark, tell me about when you were at Harvard. What was it like then? And it was interesting. And toward the end, I do think that I made a choice to shelter my son, and I did not invite him to the intensive care unit when my dad was there, and I did send him up skiing rather than having him come to hospice for the last hours. And so I had that, unique, intimate ability to say goodbye to my dad, to hold his hand and stroke his head as he took his last breath. And when my son came home from the mountains, I was able to say, Papa Mark's gone, and then he jumped right in and helped us do the next steps and memorialize him, and he spoke up at the memorial service and said, here's what I loved about my grandfather. He always had a joke, he always had a song, and that's how I'm going to remember him. And I think, you never know how to do this when you haven't been through it before. It's parenting and it's end of life, and they're all just sort of make your way as you go.
All right. When your dad was in, let's say, regular living and assisted living, did you have any technology involved there? Was he computer savvy? Was he doing emails? Was he phone?
I've thought about this because my dad, before he started to decline cognitively, he got a laptop and someone sent him up, and we were living in different states. I don't think I never emailed with my father. To me, that there was a disconnect there. I've always known him, as I said, Sunday phone calls and face-to-face meetings just a couple times a year for many years. But something was so different about the idea of using technology to communicate. When he moved to Denver into the independent living, I brought somebody in, we set up his computer, and he never once sat down on it. And I think that's simply a reflection of how swiftly he was in decline, and that he really wouldn't remember what to do. And it was sad. I mean, it was frustrating for me at first, and then it was sad for me at first. And, you know, circling back to my life as a dad, it's also ironic because, as we were saying, my son could have completely, you know, taught his grandfather and showed his grandfather, but that wasn't going to happen at that stage in the game.
My life as a dad.
Any man can be a father, but it takes someone special to be the daddy. Please join us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have a favorite celebrity or athlete dad that you'd like to see on the show, please give us a comment below. Sponsored by Daddy & Company, the perfect gifts for dad. Get 15% off your next purchase at daddyandcompany.com using promo code MLAAD15.